Okay, the last of the different elf races, at least for now, part 3. The first type of elven race I want to talk about is the crystal elf. All elves are light beings in definition of helping creation towards growth of life rather than destruction. But these light beings in particular come to me as a point of radiant light. They are so ancient in terms of energy, they were the first vibrational life forms of elves thought up from our collective. Crystal elves were the guides to the druid elves called the Shining Ones, and are even revered by the other elves on other planets as such. They regard these beings as their elders to listen to within their heart, much like the elves of Arda did to the Valar. Their plane is one of total crystalline structure beyond our understanding of space-time. They live in the 11th dimension of reality, where all other crystal consciousness comes from in crystal castles they live in. These beings are very involved with speaking to humanity through the consciousness, and many have them as their spiritual guides, as the other elven races do on other planets. They teach in depth nature wisdom and how it connects to the God source or divine consciousness. They teach about the interconnection of the tree roots and how all souls are interconnected in a web consciousness that projects our reality before us. They are at such high vibrational states, they appear only as bright, piercing light, with iridescent colors radiating from them like a prism. One of their feminine white light elves is my earth guide, urging me to speak out and guiding me in this process along the way. Currently, they are not here in body or form, because they are far too high dimensional energy to be contained in this dimension of this planet or earth bodies. But, like the angels, they watch over growth of nature and our soul evolution and help aid those that are willing participants in becoming a voice for the elves and are willing to help them and guide them along the way to create some of the projects that we have on Earth right now regarding the elven consciousness. So I know personally that my Earth guide, when I started out this channel, was urging me to create this and in order to become more of a voice for the elven consciousness and wisdom on Earth today. Okay, the next type I want to talk about is the moon elf. There are two parts to moon elves. One is a type of any elven soul who loves the nighttime more than the day. I will be making a moon elf soul type video very soon on this. But I channeled an actual species of a moon elf, which is a special type of species that lives on a planet a very long way from here, perhaps even closer to Andromeda galaxy and even further. Their world is one in which their many moons are considered their sacred essence. They sleep in the daytime and are active at night as nocturnal souls. There they have their dance parties in the forest, civilization duties, and socializations under the moonlight on their beautiful planets. Moon elves are very emotional energy, intuitive, as this is a trait all their people consider very important to cultivate at a young age. They are more tribal-like in their societies, living outside, hunting, and tending to their land. They are very peaceful and hold no fear vibratory inside. Humans are taught to fear the night, and moon elves see it as a beautiful time to celebrate the vastness of space around them. They become one with the stars and space above in the nighttime. World of Warcraft creators captured their essence with the glow from their eyes. Like nocturnal animals, these elves have luminous eyes and seem to glow within. Magic, mysticism, and building onto their nature wisdom is really their essence. Okay, the next elven race is the Indigenous elf. So Indigenous elf is not their name at all, but it is the best way to describe the similarities to the first peoples of North America and all tribal nations around the world. There are so many of these types of elves scattered around the multiverse. They come to me as a wild, strong, heavy, but totally free, wise energy. They do not hold any burdens of building a civilization to grow bigger and bigger or richer and richer. They let nature run its course, and they live in huts they build and off the land entirely with no other commerce except exchange of services and goods that they create themselves. They are not interested in building up their societies to forget nature as the humans once did. They do not have high technology, but simply enjoy the simple things on their planets as strong families of light. Peaceful, strong, and loving, these indigenous elves have no care to communicate with humans. They did not even give me a message that was clear for humanity. They simply let me know that they are here as elven races and wish to be left alone. They are very similar to the reindeer tribes of Mongolian, or the way other tribal cultures still live in some areas around the world. The next elven race is the Andromeda elf. These elves are part of the fairy people of Andromeda. Andromeda elves have wings, so if you feel strongly like a fairy elf hybrid, you may be from here. Their world is as beautiful as can be as a fairyland. There are creatures there that would only be considered a myth here. Their worlds are leafy greens and deep lush forests and great civilizations within them. They are playful and lively spirits, a bit shy of humans, and they don't communicate as much. Many of the elementals on Earth ran away to this planet in search of new worlds and expansion of their fairy kingdoms. They are willing to talk to humans who show them no harm and no harm to nature. Oddly, they do have a fairy elf queen and king, so they're not as preoccupied by law or equality as the Palladians or Syrians are. Their world is a bit more freer in society, and souls are a variety of learning curves and consciousness levels. So they're not as high elves would be, but they have their type of civilization that's run by their fairy elf king and queen on this particular planet. By these stars, the star system or the galaxy of Andromeda. Their world is a bit more free. They do have beautiful temple-like structures that seem to designate themselves to connection to the divine as well as the crystal elf elder beings. So I do get the understanding that they do hold the crystal elves in deep regards and often connect to them, part of the divine consciousness of nature. Okay, the next elf type is the sea elf or mermaid elf, a hybrid species of an elf and a mermaid. These mermaid beings have pointed ears, no tail, but gills on their cheeks, and great big civilizations underwater. They are a very mystical bunch, but also strong warrior nature. Don't expect to make friends easily with them, though. They are surrounded by very protective layers of energy from the water, and in order to contact these beings directly, they let me know a human soul has to be custodians of water on Earth, meaning really care for the conditions of water and water life. I do see spears in their hands when I connect to them. They really do reflect back the image of Poseidon and his sea nymphs in a way. They have beautiful voices, and like many elves, they sound a bit more sonar-like a dolphin or whale call, which is how they communicate to one another underneath and in their underwater civilizations. The next elven race is the Cassiopeian elf. There is another highly advanced and intelligent race of humanoid elf beings that live near the star system of Cassiopeia. From what I've read about in their messages to Laura Knight Jadzik, they are sometimes in contact with humans in order to help them evolve. They have short, pointy ears, and some have seen them with a circle of light in the middle of their forehead, probably used to communicate with one another and to indicate their usage of their third eye as a priority in their civilization. They live in a rocky but a beautiful region and enjoy centering their civilizations around law and ethics with a grand council. And perhaps that's why they communicate openly with humans a lot of times, is because they are so dedicated to law and ethics, and they're really trying to help humans evolve in their ethics in order to help the human civilization as well become a very fair and equal place for all. The next elf race is the silver elf. As there is golden elves, there are silver elves as well, a race of elven beings that are silver-skinned and haired. Their eyes are white-blue to a light purple tone, and silver elves are light beings that live in a monk-like community. They base their world around spiritual enlightenment and live very peacefully there with one another. Not to be confused with the silver elves' daughters, letters, which was a group of elves who started to raise awareness of elven souls on Earth around the 70s, but perhaps there is some connection there. They live in beautiful white temples that float above their scorched planet and have hanging gardens down their temple walls. These silver elves use their monk-like abilities to meditate information from their planet near the Lyra star system in between Cygnus, the Swan constellation, and have their thoughts travel many light years to aid others in need. It is interesting that Tolkien used the swan ships tied to the Teleri elves of Arda. I get a sense that there was a warring nature in them a long time ago, but these elves are all mature in age and live extremely long lives. Like the elves of Tolkien, the silver elves learned it is best to live peacefully instead of always jump into battles. Today, they avoid battling as much as possible and act as counsel to others rather than fighters. The next elven race is the vampire elf. I was at first concerned about getting an energy reading from this species because I didn't know that they existed until I really thought about it. But they are no threat to humanoid beings or anything that they consider sentient or reflective in thought. They are a vampire race of elves that live many light years away in an undisclosed place to me. They only suck the blood from small creatures they hunt on their planet. So they do have long fangs as teeth, and they're very much like wolves in their nature and enjoy the hunt for their food. They actually are very intelligent and have impressive metallic cities made out of some mineral that they get from their planet. Most of them have red eyes and black hair, but they are varied in colors, I am getting, and live in a very technologically advanced city to look as they will and live any way they want. But they enjoy hunting for their food, and that's just what they have come to know. They are not interested at all in human affairs. They neither wish to help them or bother them. So that is really the clear message I get. So they are really no threat to humans. They aren't even part of the old traditions or legends. There just happen to be another elven species that are vampire-like or wolf-like in their nature, the way that they hunt for their food. But they're not attached to the idea of Vlad the Impaler, where the first vampire legend came from on Earth. So they are not connected, but in a different way. If you think about the way that a wolf hunts or any type of predatory animal in the forest, that is how these elven species actually live. Okay, the next elven race is the sunrise elf. I was very happy to hear about this type of elf that lives in the fairy dimension. They are light beings that shimmer with a golden light. Unlike the golden elves I talked about on the other video, these sunrise elves are not interested in gold at all. They are keepers of the light from the suns that surround all the planets. They harness the energy and fly around the daytime to spread their light and grace, bringing all animals, creatures, flowers, plants their light too. They live in castles in the sky on clouds. And remember, this is the fairy dimension, so all things are possible within this level of consciousness and reality. They are a magnificent race of elves that are pure of heart and love all of the beings inside of the universe. They do not discriminate against anyone, even the darker beings out there, and have such a light, airy energy to them. They are lovely, and whomever visits the fairy dimension are instantly greeted by these beings as hosts. They tell me that if anyone on any planet ever needs a bit of energy lift or light in their life, think about them and focus on connecting to them. They will reach out a golden hand of light from beyond space and time and send their love and light down to you, and you will be infused with the sunrise energy. And the next elven race is the she-elf. So the she-elf, which is actually spelled Sidhe, used to be here on Earth as a real elven race in Ireland. Apart from the Druid elves who were interested in teaching the Irish humans tricks of magic and nature wisdom, these were a race of elves that were not interested in humans at all and hid from them. Several legends said that they would defend their prairie mounds as much as they could as a beautiful race of beings. They were upset that humans were building homes onto their lands, creating terrible tales about them as well. So they no longer live on Earth in full community as they were too hindered by humanity. So they live in the land of fairy in another dimension of time, of space-time now. The she-elves have long left their annoyances with humans behind and have become somewhat of an angelic elven race now. They often send guardians down to help Earth and to help humanity, even at times that sometimes humans don't deserve it. The she-elves have become completely forgiving and merciful in their nature. They are beautiful elementals that have had the power to do much in fairy as well as in this reality, and many she-elves have incarnated now to help Earth restore its natural beauty and bring in the elven consciousness to humans. They are magical and enchanting souls, and you never know you are being enchanted by one. You just cannot help but love the Earth all of a sudden and want to be an elf with them. So that is it for all the different elven races. And I will add a part 4 if I ever get an energy reading about another type of elven race that's out there. But for now, this is all that I can really channel and understand the differences between all of them. So I hope that this brought some clarity to you and maybe even some affirmations and confirmations of the different elven species that you have been connecting to or communicating to or feeling like you are a part of or you come from there. And maybe this gives you more clarity in order to move forward in your life as a custodian of the nature wisdom and to help restore Earth back to its balance and to bring forth the elven wisdom into this world once again. So Hananle for listening, and I will see you on the next video.